Hola, buenas tardes. Vamos a empezar en 10 minutos. Por favor, me avisan si me escuchan mi voz fuerte y claro en la caja de preguntas. Listo. Vamos a empezar en 8 minutos. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the webinar for feedback for applications of the postgraduate scholarships of 2018. My name is Miles Thacker, and I'm the education advisor here at Fulbright. So just to make sure you're at the right webinar, this is a feedback webinar for Fulbright Graduate Scholarship applications of 2018. So just so you all know, this year was a very competitive year. We had a total of 407 applications for 69 scholarships in total. That's about 17% acceptance rate. Just so you all are aware, there's 3 filters for the application process. There's revisión técnica, evaluación académica, and entrevistas. Oh, and just so you know, I will be speaking in English for this webinar, but if you have any questions in Spanish, you're welcome to write them in Spanish in the questions box. Voy a presentar esta presentación en inglés todo el tiempo, pero si ustedes tienen preguntas en español, también ustedes pueden escribir en español en la caja de preguntas. So let's talk about these stages. Revisión técnica. This is the first stage, that first filter that your applications go through. And this is just to make sure that your test scores and your GPA matches up with the requirements for the scholarship that you're applying to. And we also make sure that you have all your documents. Evaluación académica. In this process, you've already passed revisión técnica. Now we're really looking at the content of your application, including your essays, grade point average, research, as well as any academic journals or just your application as a whole. Then finally, there's interviews. So let's talk about components of a grade application. You need to meet all requirements and upload all documents. You need to have academic excellence and experience in your field that you're applying to. You must have clear objectives and projected impact in Colombia. This is very important. This is the mission of Fulbright. You must have competitive TOEFL, GRE scores, and strong letters of recommendation. So let's talk about meeting all the requirements and upload all documents. So you should have all received an email if you sent an application letting you know which stage you did not pass. So if you didn't pass Revisión Técnica, this part is specifically for you. So Revisión Técnica, as we talked about, is the first filter. It's very strict. So if you're missing a single document, you won't move on to the next stage. You need to read the términos de referencia very carefully and more than once. I recommend reading it at least 5 or more times because there are a lot of details and a lot of different documents to upload. Applications that won't pass if they do not have a minimum GPA or TOEFL score. So if the TOEFL minimum is 80, and you have a 79, you will not pass Revisión Técnica. It is very strict. So even if your score is close, you have to have the minimum score or higher. That is the same with the GPA as well. If you are even missing one required document, you may not pass Revisión Técnica, like Certificado de Ranking, transcripts, transcripts from pre-graduate degree, and so on. If you upload different documents than required documents, for example, if you upload a different exam other than TOEFL or IELTS, a different English exam. So you need to make sure you upload all the documents and the correct documents. Let's talk about academic excellence and experience in your field. You must meet the minimum GPA requirements and demonstrate high grades in your field. You also must demonstrate participation in groups, events related to your field is a big plus. Remember that these scholarships are very competitive, so the more experience you have within your area of study, the better. Research experience, certainly a plus, and is almost a requirement if you're applying for doctorate level studies. And publications that are relevant in your field. Clear objectives and project impact. It's important to have very clear objectives that reflect in your essays and the rest of your application. Really important to organize your essay structure and have correct grammar. So make sure that your essays are edited multiple times, they flow well, and also have a native English speaker if you can, or someone who is fluent in English to edit your essays. What is the problem you hope to solve via this particular academic program? So this is specific towards your essay. So what do you hope to bring to Colombia as well? Very important, so project of impact. Because remember, this is our mission, and through these scholarships, one must return back to Colombia for a minimum of 2 years. So we want to know what impact you're going to make when you come back to Colombia. What industry, community, or organization will you benefit? This is also a big one, multiplier effect. So who will you impact with your studies, with your education? I highly recommend that for this convocatoria, you attend the Fulbright webinars on essays, CVs. You can also find these webinars on the YouTube page. And remember to follow us on Facebook because these webinars will start in around March or April. It's very important to have competitive TOEFL and GRE scores. So you absolutely must meet minimum requirements for the application. Most of the scholarships did not require GRE, and if it did require GRE, actually only Conciencias, that scholarship required a GRE, and it didn't require a minimum score. But we still want to see that you have high scores. And if you do have a GRE exam and it's not required for the scholarship, it's still good to see that you have high scores with your GRE or TOEFL. Understand the expectations of your field of study. So it's very important to know exactly what you want to study and you have experience in it. Make sure you check university requirements and be realistic. So it's good to check the minimum TOEFL and GRE scores of your given field. You can look at different university websites to check on those scores. Remember that depending on the university and depending on the program, the scores will vary. So it's really specific towards your field. For example, a master's in business or an MBA, which we actually don't offer through Fulbright, but business degree programs require a very high TOEFL score, around 100 or higher. So recommendation is to take the TOEFL this year. And I would take it early on, because if you don't meet the minimum requirements, you know that you can study and you know how many points you need to get and in what subjects you need to study. Here you can find the TOEFL ITP schedule. Remember that it's on our website, Fulbright Fundación, TOEFL ITP under calendar. And then you can also purchase test books through Fulbright. We offer a GRE and TOEFL exam book. We also offer a TOEFL ITP test book. Strong letters of recommendation. This is a must, and it's really important to have a variety of letters of recommendation. So if you only have letters of recommendation from professional experience, but not academic, that could hurt your application. So it's important to have a variety and strong letters. So you want to demonstrate strengths, accomplishments, and ability to successfully complete graduate studies in the United States. These letters are not written by a friend or a relative and do not include any personal details. Another recommendation, of course, attend our webinars. We have a letter of recommendation webinar as well. So follow us on Facebook. Remember, those webinars will start around March or April. And remember, the next call for application Fulbright grants graduate study will open in February 2019. It's really important to start your applications early. The scholarships, of course, will change a little bit. Some of the scholarships we might not offer anymore. We might have new scholarships. We may change the requirements. We may change some of the benefits. So it really all depends on the year, what scholarships we offer and what benefits. But a good thing to do now is go over your application, see what documents you have, maybe see if you're missing any documents in your application. And you can also check through your email. If it says that you didn't pass Revisión Técnica, you know that you were either missing a document or didn't have a high enough TOEFL or or TOEFL score, really, or certificate or your GPA. So definitely start early. Make sure you have those documents and don't wait till the last minute. So thank you for applying. Remember that it's a very competitive scholarship, but we do offer it every year. And I strongly, strongly urge you to apply again. You already have most of the documents. Remember to check that email if you turned in an application to see how far you got in the process. So if you only made it, if you didn't make it past Revisión Técnica, you know that you're missing documents and you simply need to have all of your documents together. If you made it didn't make it past Evaluación Académica, you want to definitely attend the webinars, spend more time on your essays, and strengthen your application. Maybe even do research during this year to strengthen your application as a whole, or get more experience in your field. So thanks again for attending the webinar. Let's go ahead and open it up to questions. So tenemos una pregunta de Hugo. Tener una maestría o estar cursando una maestría en el momento de la aplicación puede ser el proceso. Sí, Hugo, pero tienes que terminar tu maestría antes de iniciar tus estudios en Estados Unidos. Es decir, que si vas a estudiar en Estados Unidos en 2020, agosto de 2020, usted va a aplicar en febrero 2019 y usted tiene que terminar tu maestría no más tardar que agosto, antes de iniciar sus estudios en Estados Unidos, pero depende de la beca. Por ejemplo, Ciencias tenían una regla que por este año que tenían que terminar tu maestría no más tardar que 2018 de este año para empezar en 2019. Entonces, diciembre de 2018. Pero pues siempre depende. Oh, no, lo siento. Sí, sí. No, es 2019, diciembre de 2019 para empezar en agosto de 2019 con maestría. Entonces, tres reglas, depende de las becas, pero recuerdan que siempre las becas van a cambiar. Entonces, para pregrado, ustedes tienen que terminar tu pregrado no más tardar que el año antes de aplicar a las becas. Es decir, que si ustedes van a aplicar en 2019, febrero, ustedes tienen que terminar tu pregrado en 2018, diciembre. Y con maestría, depende de la beca, ustedes tienen que terminar en diciembre 2019 o en agosto 2020. Depende de la beca. What about interviews? So this is from Alejo Lopez. So basically the interviews is another stage of evaluación académica, more or less. So in the interviews, it's another filter, another set of eyes, another set of ears, another set of people making the decision of who the best candidate is. So basically with the interview process, it's more people looking at your applications, more people looking at your letters, and getting a chance to get to know you on a personal level. Maria Paula Rubiano, how come nobody won the scholarship of Pasaporte a la Ciencia? There are 20 nominees of Pasaporte a la Ciencia. We still have not, they still have not become nominees officially because they are filing out paperwork, data crédito. So there are 20 scholarships in Pasaporte a la Ciencia, and the nominees have been chosen, have been selected, but not have been nominated quite yet. Which could be the fail in that part of the process? So Alejo, in the interview process, basically it's just competitive. So if you made it to the interview process, good for you. It's difficult to get to that stage, but what it could be is other applicants. We had a strong cohort of applicants this year, and it was competitive. So, and you also, one big thing is you want to make sure that you know your project of impact. You want to know exactly how you're going to impact Colombia, and you want to know a lot about your field of study. So you'll be asked questions in Spanish, English, about your field of study, about the project of impact. It could be a variable of different questions. So just to be ready, but also remember it's just another academic filter, another set of eyes looking at all the applicants. Los que llegamos a la entrevista, ¿cuál es el feedback? Entonces, ¿qué dije antes, pero en inglés? Entonces, puedo decirlo en español también. Pues, la recomendación es, pues, no, solo tienes que conocer tu área de estudios y ser confidente, y también tienes un proyecto de impacto para Colombia fijo en tu mente y sabes exactamente qué quieres estudiar. Pero recuerdas que solo es otra gente, es otro filtro de gente que están mirando las aplicantes. Entonces, mirando los ensayos, promedios, todo vale, todo pesa lo mismo. Entonces, las entrevistas no solo son entrevistas, son otros ojos mirando tu aplicación. Manuel 10, ¿es posible conocer cuál de los documentos el aspirante no pasó a la evaluación técnica? Pues Manuel, varias de ustedes han recibido un correo y en ese correo les dijo que ustedes tienen que enviar los documentos que faltaban en 24 horas y ustedes no han mandado esos documentos en 24 horas, pues no pasarán revisión técnica. Eso es muy amable en el parte de revisión técnica y la Comisión Fulbright. Para ustedes, eso es una gran oportunidad para saber cuál oportunidades faltaron. Si ustedes no recibieron un correo, yo creo que ustedes no pasaron porque no tenían suficiente cartas de recomendación. Si ustedes no tenían o faltaban una carta de recomendación, no pasaron la revisión técnica sin correos, sin la oportunidad para mandar los documentos. Ok, Carlos ha salido. How can I know which ones were my weakness? Well, Anna Maria, basically look at the email that you received, and the email will tell you, we're sorry, but you didn't pass entrevistas. We are sorry, but you didn't pass evaluación académica, or we are sorry you did not pass revisión técnica. If you did not pass revisión técnica, you know that you were simply just missing a document. You could have had a wonderful application, but you were simply missing a document and you couldn't go on. Now, with evaluación académica, and the entrevistas for that matter, it's just a matter of who's applying. Is it the right scholarship for you? Do you know enough about your field? Are your essays strong? Is your CV strong? And is your overall application strong? And of course, it always depends every year of what applicants you're going up against. Sobre las entrevistas, ¿qué feedback podemos tener? Pues, Alejo, if you're still online, you can send me an email if you want, if you pass the interview. But generally for the interviews, I would say that in general, just apply again. Just apply again, maybe practice the interview in English, practice the interview in Spanish. You already know most of the questions because you're in the interview, you know the process. So now you have a better idea and a better chance for next year. Hola, ¿es posible saber cuál fue el aspecto más débil en mi aplicación de este año? Esto con la idea de mejorar para la siguiente aplicación. Hugo, pues habían 407 aplicaciones y por esa razón no podemos dar feedback individual si ustedes no han pasado entrevistas. Entonces, por eso tenemos este webinar. La idea es, puedes mejorar tus CVs, tus ensayos, nivel de inglés. Siempre mejor estudiar más en inglés y tomar un examen. Este año, como dije, puedes tomar el TOEFL ya en los meses que vienen y si tienes un puntaje bajo, puedes tomarlo otra vez y sabes cuáles secciones ustedes tienen que trabajar. Entonces la idea es pues mejorar su aplicación o también aplicar otra vez. Y también, por favor, asistir a los webinars. Los webinars son muy útiles. Ustedes pueden hablar conmigo y qué exactamente estamos buscando en las aplicaciones. ¿Cómo sabemos a qué etapa del proceso llegamos? Gracias, Lina María. Pues en su correo que ustedes han recibido, dice, lo siento, pero no, usted no ha pasado la etapa de entrevista. Entonces, eso es la etapa. Si ustedes no, ustedes tuvieron entrevista, pues es revisión técnica o evaluación académica. Y en sus correos van a decir, lo siento, pero usted no pasó revisión técnica o evaluación académica. Y en sus correos ustedes van a encontrar esta respuesta. Buenas tardes, tienen surgencias para aquellos que llegamos a la etapa de entrevista y no nos fue bien. Sí, Juan Carlos, pues ya he respondido a esta pregunta. Pues la idea es, ustedes están, hay muchos aplicantes y eso es un otro filtro, otra evaluación académica y otros ojos que están mirando su aplicación. La idea es si no ustedes han pasado entrevista, es porque hay otros candidatos muy fuertes y por supuesto ya sabes el proceso de las entrevistas y aplicas el otro año y practicar la entrevista, mejorar sus ensayos, puntajes y tienes que mirar y también aplicar a la beca correcta para ti. Hernán, si tengo una maestría en otra área, pero quiero aplicar a una beca de maestría. ¿Alguna recomendación, Hernán? Si tienes maestría, si usted tiene maestría, puede aplicar a otra maestría o doctorado. Pues depende. Normalmente si tiene mucha experiencia en investigaciones, mejor aplicar a doctorado. Pero si usted está más interesado en una maestría, en un programa específicamente en maestría, pues maestría siempre depende de su preferencia. Lina María, de las 20 becas que ofrecen cuántas son para maestría y cuántas para doctorado. No me acuerdo exactamente, pero fue casi medio y medio. Me toca averiguar los datos exactamente. Javier Bonilla, hola, muy buenos días. Yo participé en la beca Pasaporte a las Ciencias. Fui llamado a entrevista. ¿Cómo puedo recibir retroalimentación sobre eso? Entonces, ¿no fuiste llamado para una entrevista o tenías una entrevista? Estoy poco confundido de esta pregunta. Pero puedes recibir retroalimentación a través de este webinar. Si has recibido una entrevista, usted puede mandarme un correo. Todavía existen oportunidades en Pasaporte a las Ciencias, no haya pasado entrevistas, ya que muchas personas que quedan en el siguiente proceso de financiación. Sí, aún hay muchas personas, pero ellos ya saben que ellos están nominados. Si ellos no pasan este proceso, pues quizás tenemos que encontrar otras personas, pero no creo. Creo que todos van a pasar y ya tenemos nuestros nominados. Okay, Jose, I really appreciate your feedback over the application process and requirements. I couldn't go beyond the Evaluación Académica stage. I thought I was going to obtain better results as I have a strong and competitive profile, but I'm sure it's going to be better next time. Thank you very much for your recommendations and advice. Of course, Jose, and please apply next year. And it's a good thing that you got to the Evaluación Académica stage. Now you know that you can work on your essays and your profile. Marta, what are the most important aspects to have into consideration for the project of impact in the interview? Well, Martha, this is really creative. This is a really creative part of the application and one of the most important parts. So it really depends on the area that you're studying and what you want to do with your knowledge when you come back from the United States. You know, we've had projects from creating solar power wind energy in Colombia to helping communities of Afrodescendiente women, or simply creating and building the infrastructure of business in Colombia. It really just depends on your interests and depends on your creativity. And really, through the application, you have to speak through the heart. You have to talk about exactly what you want for yourself and what you want for Colombia, maybe United States, and the world. Javier, el otro año estará abierta la convocatoria Pasaporte a la Ciencia. Gracias. Javier, todavía no sabemos. No vamos a saber hasta febrero. Entonces la convocatoria va a abrir en medio de febrero, creo que 15 de febrero, no sabemos todavía. Pero entre febrero vamos a publicar las otras becas. No puedo decir todavía cuál becas vamos a tener, Javier. Jorge, is the GRE more important than other documents such as the CV or the transcripts? Jorge, thank you for that question. They are all very important. And remember, the majority of our scholarships didn't even require a GRE, and we didn't even require a minimum score. So in that case, the GRE is not necessarily as important as the rest of your application for this year. Next year, who knows what the what the requirements will be to apply for the application. But remember that every part of your application weighs about the same. So Your TOEFL score is just as important as your essay, is just as important as your CV, is just as important as your letters of recommendation. It's your application as a whole that all these little parts add up into the perfect candidate. Natalia Ruiz ya he respondido a esta pregunta. ¿Por qué la beca Pasaporte a la Ciencia no tuvo ningún beneficiario? No, hay nominados por esta beca. Tenemos 20 en total. Ana María, I didn't pass revisión técnica. Had I revisión académica? Good question, Ana Maria. If you did not pass, so revisión técnica is the first filter, the first stage. So if you didn't pass revisión técnica, you did not make it to the stage of académica, evaluación académica. So if you did not pass revisión técnica, that means you were missing a document or multiple documents. So go back to your application, check the términos de referencia, and find what document you were missing. Also, there's a common mistake of uploading multiple documents to the same pestaña, to the same pestaña. So if you are uploading multiple documents one at a time, you're just going to replace one document with another and then one document with another, so the other document will be lost. Remember that with transcripts and diplomas, you needed to adjuntar, you needed to create one archive, one document between all of your diplomas and transcripts. But we did notice that with some of your applications, and we actually sent you an email asking for those documents. So a lot of you had a second chance. Just remember that many of you were given a second chance for that. But if you didn't receive any email, you probably didn't have a letter of recommendation, high enough TOEFL score, and so on. Juan Carlos, para aquellos que presentamos entrevista, ¿a qué correo electrónico podemos escribir para recibir feedback? You guys can write me, ustedes pueden escribirme por consejería@fulbright.edu.co. En la pantalla ustedes pueden ver mi correo electrónico. María Paula, I attended to all the webinars and I had a solid application. 2 former Fulbrighters checked it and told me it was very strong. It is possible to get more detailed information about why I didn't make it to the interview stage. Unfortunately, Maria Paula, if you didn't make it to the interview stage, we cannot give you more feedback. So if you only made it to the interview stage, my recommendation is just apply again. I'm sorry you didn't make it to the stage. We had a lot of strong applicants. It could be the applicants you're up against. It could have been the scholarship you were applying to. It could be multiple factors. But my recommendation is that you apply again next year. Any more questions? ¿Hay más preguntas? Any more questions? give you a few more minutes to answer any more questions. Okay, well, if there are no more questions, I will end the webinar now. If you want to see the webinar again tomorrow, you're welcome to join us. Same time, same webinar. And I really, really recommend you all to apply again next year. And the great thing about this year is we told you which stage you passed. So if you didn't pass Revisión Técnica, you know you were just missing documents. So read carefully the instructions this next year. If you didn't pass Evaluación Académica, well, then you know you can strengthen your application. And that goes the same with entrevistas. So thank you all for joining me today. And remember, you can write me with any questions that you have at consejeria@fulbright.edu.co. And I look forward to hearing all of your questions for next year's convocatoria. Have a great day.